Estamos de vuelta y a nada de concluir este primer día de actividades en el Summit de la Liga MX. En el cuarto turno de esta serie de conferencias, de ponencias, de charlas, Lucía Mijares toma el control para hablar de la formación de jugadores. Lo importante que es generar una preparación integral del profesional del balón. Lucía, nos enlazamos contigo. Muy buen día. Gracias por acudir al llamado.
Thank you, Antonio Rosique and Valeria Marin. Good day to everyone. I am Lucía Mijares, Sports Development Director for the Mexican Football Federation. And it is with great honor to be talking today with Kris Van Der Haegen, UEFA Pro License Coach, UEFA Technical Instructor, Education Director for the Royal Belgian Federation. And I'm sure we'll get to know much more on his pathway. But let's start with a little introduction about Belgium. Belgium is a country with a great football tradition, and it was gradually grown to become a worldwide benchmark. Homegrown stars have emerged, international superstars, and all have been brought up in Belgium's increasingly competitive grassroots football. We know also every success story has its turning point. And it was, I believe, in 2000 when Belgium co-hosted the Euro and considered the underdog of Europe, lost against Italy and Turkey, and hit the reality check and the beginning of the new era in Belgium football. Kris, welcome to the Liga BBVA MX Summit 2023. We are beyond happy to have you with us and to be able to pick on your brain, on your experience for the next hour regarding the vision to train the footballer of the future. How about we start to get to know a little bit more about you? So we're very interested in what has been your journey, your process in your formation as a coach, as an instructor, as a specialist. Would you share a little bit with us?
Yes. I don't have a usual pathway. I'm rather an exceptional person in the Football Association because I'm not coming from professional football. I'm coming from education. So when I'm delivering the pro license course, a lot of professional football players are in the course and they say, we don't know you from you. We didn't play against you. You're not coming from a professional game. I say no. I don't come from the professional game, but I am a professional in learning. And then they are a little bit surprised and they say, I try to explain you in a very easy way. Today, even as a coach and as a coach educator, my first question before talking to my students is always, how can I help them that they can learn it easily? Because I don't like to use the word teaching. Because coaches, we always want to teach, to talk, but the crucial question is those who learn, those who are in front of us, what do they learn from all that teaching? What do they take away from it? So, yeah, I'm coming from, I played in the third league and I was coaching in the third and the second league, but finally my life changed. For 22 years, I was a French teacher. And my life changed because of coach education. I was doing the UEFA A license course, and at the end, the federation they asked me, they detected me as a high potential, and they said we would like to collaborate with you. Can you help us to be an instructor in the B license and the A license? And that's what I did for like 5-6 years, and then finally 15 years ago. I got a phone call. I said, we would like to have you on board as the technical coordinator for all the courses. And that's how I started. And it's crazy to share a small detail about that first contact. I said, it's my passion and I really would like to do it. But I would also really like just to take the challenge for 1 year, because I'm not sure that I will be able to fit in that environment, because I'm used to live in an educational environment where you support each other, and you come into football, which is a world of ego and not really supporting, but yeah, battles to get the best job in the environment, and that was not really my DNA. My DNA is really 100% development, working with people, making people better players, better coaches, and originally it was making my students better in using languages, and that's in fact the same job as what I'm doing now. It's working working with competences and making that people, my students, they are now coaches before or players, that they become better as a player or as a coach. And I've been as a coach through the youth teams, the boys teams, and finally, 8 years ago, when I took the job of director of coach education, my wife said, "Kris, this is too much. You'll be a coach, or you'll be a director of coaching." So I quit coaching for 1 year. But after 1 year, the technical director, he asked me to support the women's game, the girls teams, and because there is less work than we have to do with the boys. So I started as an under-19 head coach and building the pathway for our national youth teams. And finally, I think now it's four years ago that the head coach said, "You have to join me in the senior team." And that's what I did. So, and we had a fantastic experience in the last summer when we qualified for the quarterfinals with our women's team, and we have only 45,000 players.
That's fantastic, Kris, and thank you so much for sharing your experience, because we usually think you need to come. I share that I'm not a footballer myself, and I think we bring into the game, and specifically you're the living example of vision on top of beyond the pitch, right?
Yes.
So I think, and your vocation as an educator, because at the end, I think we were discussing prior to this interview that football is education, and we are mainly focused on the top of the iceberg when we don't know that a building cannot be held together if the foundations are not strong enough. And this comes through my next question, where I think it's where exactly I want to pick on your brain. I mean, first of all, what caused the Football Belgium model to change? And what were the key factors to be changed? Because I'm pretty sure it's mainly a thing about education and moving forward to that. So would you mind sharing a little bit about what caused the Football Belgium model to change? And what were the key factors to be changed from that model you were priorly using?
So yeah, absolutely. It's a pleasure to share, and I prepared some slides because it's easier to have them as a guide, because it's about getting back into the year 2000, 2001, like you said in your introduction. It was after a bad Euros here in Belgium that we decided to sit together, and when things are going wrong, it's a good moment to get people together and to start thinking about what's happening now, what's next. And there we decided that we saw that the international game was going into a direction that was not our direction. So we really had to be critical, and we started thinking about, we need a coaching switch. We need to change something. And the big change was focus on the individual development. And it looks like a contradiction because everybody says football is a team sport, but we started really going back to what is the team? The team is built by individuals, and we have to build on these individuals. And that's the picture here. You see, this is my football environment, but this is the end point. This is the end of a big process, and the process is not made by building the team. We really have to start working on the individuals, and that's how we created what we call in Belgium the vision of development. And this document, we worked for 2 years making a document that is the foundation of the development of football in Belgium. And even still today, we use this document as the Bible for development. And just to give you an idea about who we are, and I've also put the Mexican numbers. So we are 11 million people. And I was surprised to see that Maxim was such a big number of inhabitants. I didn't realize. Also, we are very small, like you see the red dot on the European map. So we have less than 500,000 football players, and when I talk about the girls players, the female players, it's 45,000. So as we are so small, we cannot miss one talented player. We have to do everything to keep our pool alive and not to miss one or two talents. So when you are small, you need to be smart, and that's how we started 20 years ago under the director of my former technical director, and in that context, it's good to share with you. I was on board when we started working on the document, and I'm now 23 years later. I'm still on board, and I'm leading the technical department of coach education. So I've been through the process for more than 20 years. And when I say why did we do it, or what's the tool of the document today, it is like the one and only North Star. And I come back about this. It gives you direction. It shows you a clear way. This is where we want to go. And in the beginning, it was quite difficult because this is the challenge of all the countries. We are focusing on results, on winning the game. But if you focus on winning the game, it's in a way, in a competition, it's normal. But we have to think about what before the competition and how can we prepare the players to be ready for the competition. And then we have to say competition at a young age, it's not the best thing, because when coaches are focusing on the results of the team, they will pick only the strong players, the physical players. And that's not the best one, not at all for the future. And I've added today, especially for you, this slogan here in gold color, because that's the slogan today that FIFA uses. Give every talent a chance. Yeah. But this was the start, what he did 20 years ago. We need to give every player a good chance to play at the best possible level for the player. And when you focus on the team results, the small players, the tight players, they are getting out of the system and you lose them. And that's why we started really creating that change of mindset on the coaches level. Focus on development, because if you focus as a coach, if you focus on every single player in your team, what will happen with your team? Your team will automatically become better.
Absolutely.
And that's the process. But the big difference is everybody will stay involved. You are not. The number of dropping out players will be very, very, very small. So it's really focusing on this development that helped us to create what we call that Belgian football DNA. And that was the objective. We didn't start working on that project with the idea we want to become number one. Not at all. That was just a consequence. The idea was we want to create an identity of Belgian football. And that was the big issue. What were we lacking? We were lacking creativity. We didn't have really like a playing identity. Some teams were playing like that, other teams were playing in another way. So what did we do? Our neighbors, the Netherlands, they were very successful. But our neighbors, it's 30 minutes drive from my home, same climate, same language, same culture. What are they doing that we are missing? And then the answer was very clear. They have a clear identity. They always play 1-4-3-3. So maybe we can try to do something similar. And what do we need then as profile of players? And we started working on this for 2 years. And a very important thing is, when I say we were starting and working on it, it's we. That means we collaborated with it. We were about 100 people, because all the clubs, the professional clubs, the academy directors, they were involved, because this was making one plan, one vision, for the whole nation. That's why I showed you the map of Europe. We are so small that alone you cannot change anything. You cannot have an impact if you're alone. So if we wanted to make an impact that was also an impact, or that could be an impact on the international level, we needed to collaborate. And that's what we did. And coach education was really the key to show the DNA. And I always use this cartoon to show, because we didn't have creativity. But they said, okay, but what's happening? Why don't we have creativity? Why are, even today, why the creative players, why are they coming from South America? Maybe because they have something that we don't have. Maybe we overstructure everything. Yeah. And I use this like, look, Hobbes, I got a paint by numbers kit. And you know, the paint by numbers kit, what it is? Sorry, I want to rub. You can't see it here, I think. No, you can't see it. Sorry for that. I got a paint by numbers kit, and the big one is like the adult and the coach. He says, yeah, but you're not using the right colors, and you're not just coloring in the lines. And the small one is not so happy, the kid, and says, yes, but if I did this, I would just have the picture that is on the box, and I want to create my own picture.
Absolutely.
And that's really why we have been focusing from the beginning on the importance of play. Please let them play, because play is the license for creativity. And don't try to be a joystick coach who's all the time shouting, do this, do this. No, leave them free, give them the freedom, and just help them to be creative.
It's going back to basics, right, Kris? Is what children want.
Yeah, absolutely. And I come back about it. And I always say to adult coaches, we have to think about the kids, not about us.
Absolutely.
And I give the example, the comparison. When you have kids, you go to the restaurant. You arrive in the restaurant with small kids. The first thing we do is checking the menu if they have a kids menu. No, but that's it.
Yeah.
So in coaching on the pitch, it's the same. We should have a kids menu. So not only in how are we treating them, but also what are we offering them? Do we really offer them the games that they want to play? So from that perspective, from that vision of development, we created, like you see here, football DNA. It was a writing down or playing philosophy or coaching philosophy, and something very important. And we could talk 1 hour only about that. What is talent? How do we identify talent? Do we take the right ones? And the most important thing, and this is why I said this document is still alive today, and we still use it as, I think 85% is still the same. 15% are changed because the game is changing.
Changing, absolutely.
Yes, but like you can see here, the most important thing is consistency. And I can show it just in an easy picture like that. All over the pathway in our national teams, the only thing that changes is the size of the shirt. All the rest is the same way of playing, the same way of coaching, the same way of supporting players. And that is really crucial in development. Consistency. One clear message, common message all over the pathway. And this is what is missing in a lot of clubs and federations, because they implement a plan. 2-3 years later, they say, it doesn't work. We change the technical director. The new technical director is coming in and say,
everything changes.
This is my new plan. And they change all the time. There is no North Star that gives direction. They don't have the patience. And watch, I've showed the graph, because this is where we are coming from. And watch, 2009, we have implemented like 7-8 years. And here you can see it more in detail. So watch here. This is the period we have been going through, because we saw here we are on the top. So you cannot change it immediately because you need 10 years to build. And then if you are convinced, because we worked for 2 years, that will really be a good plan, focusing on kids. What do they need? Focusing on the right profile of coaches. How do we do coach education? That's the plan we are going to work with. And Michel said, be patient. We need 10 years. And after 10 years, you saw, because what you see here on this top, these players are the same players as there. The same players. But what's the difference? Experience. They need also some time to get to their best level. So one of the main things is this question, how to create the best learning and playing environment. And there is where my background is coming first, because it's about, this is, at my opinion, this is why football is a school for life. Our jobs as a coach and as an educator is to give children roots to grow, that make them ready for growing, and wings to fly, giving them the freedom and the confidence and the trust to really to go to the next stage of their development. And it's very easy. If you ask adults, where do you want to be, on the left side or on the right side? Yeah, everybody says, yeah, of course, on the right side. Okay, as a coach, please try to do the same and try to create that environment where you give them wings to fly and not where you just want to control everything. And this is one of my favorites because we forget it so much. To understand the real needs of children, you must be able to adapt your glasses or your eyes. I always say you have to change your glasses. Put off your adult glasses and put on your children's glasses. And then you will look through the eyes of a child and you will understand that they want something else. And this is how, when we had in Belgium a change in the regulations. So like 6 years ago, there was no minimum age anymore. So what happens? Suddenly, kids 4 or 5 years old arrive in the club. What are they able to do? And we started playing with them, like 5v5, which was crazy. So we really said, who is in front of me and what are they able to learn? So we changed the whole pathway, because Belgium is also a cycling country.
I know. I know.
This picture. If you put your child 6 years old on this bicycle, on the yellow bicycle, will you give your child wings to fly? I don't think so. So we really have to think about who are they and what do they need. And this is how we created what we call tailor-made football and tailor-made coaching. This is the pathway, and I go through it in a quick way. So we started.
Sorry, Kris. This is what you would say is the Belgian model. So this
is the Belgian model, and you will see
the Belgian model. And the key to success is adapting the model to every age group according to their abilities.
Absolutely, 100%.
Abilities.
And that's why I wanted to show you this big picture, because our national team, who is so successful, they were not involved in the first 2 steps here because it didn't exist at that moment. And this shows you how we are evolving all the time. We are now preparing 2026 and 2030.
Yeah.
It's really, we started focusing on 20 years ago. We want to play 5v5. But at that moment, small-sided game 5v5 as a competition format was very revolutionary.
Yeah.
I started playing 11v11, and I maybe touched 5 times the ball in a game.
Exactly. People don't realize that the more goals and the more passes you have, the more successful you become. The more motivated also to stay in the game, right?
Absolutely. Because we also started thinking about the importance of street football, street soccer, because street soccer has disappeared. So today we have to create that street soccer in the clubs and make them play. That's why I said play is the license to creativity. Yeah, but really free play, let them play. And even with mixed age groups, it doesn't matter. Give them the freedom and let them play. Yeah. So just to show you, and this is how the idea built has been created about, we call it dribbling football. So at 5 years old, there is only one ball, but okay, they want one thing, catch the ball, score the goal. So make it easy for them. One ball, two players, two goalkeepers, let's play. Yeah. So you have the ball. If you don't have, you try to catch the ball and try to score a goal. And then the next step was we make it from 2v2, we go to 3v3. Yeah. It's creating the triangle. And then finally, because these two formats are the last ones that we have added to the tailor-made approach, but this is how we started, playing in a diamond, 4 duels, because we are really convinced about you need to master the 1v1 situation to become a world-class football player. So from very young age, they are all the time in that single diamond environment where they have to be to learn how to master the 1v1. And then they go to the double diamond. Yeah. So we played till the age of under 14, we play in this double diamond. They only start playing 11v11 at under 14, which gives you like 8 years the time to work on individual development in small-sided environment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So, and then finally we go to the 11v11 game. But I go to this slide where you see what we do, in fact, is helping the brain to make accumulation of learning, because everything you learn in 2v2, you do in 3v3. Everything you do in the triangle, you do in the diamond. Everything you do in the diamond, you do in the double diamond. And that's how your brain is developing all over the age groups. And just to give you a practical idea about how it works, like you see, you can do 4 pitches on this side. You can also make 4 pitches on the other side. So this is how we organize the competition in the weekend. Sometimes there are 4 teams. Sometimes there are 6 or 8 teams. It depends on the players that the clubs bring. And then they play 2 against 2. Very flexible. And like you see, they play twice 3 minutes. And then they change from one pitch to another. So
fantastic.
Very flexible format, dribbling football, festivals. It's just about having fun. Yeah.
And rolling the ball. I mean,
yeah. And just like this, there is a video. I don't know if the video will. No, it doesn't work. There's a video just to show you how it works. They have bibs just to make duos, and they don't play one team against another. It's just we make pairs, we play, and then we play against another pair, like we did when we were playing in the street. We making groups of 2. Up, let's play.
Let's play.
Yeah. And
yeah, go ahead, and later on I'll have a strategic question regarding this entire model. Perfect.
There is just only two or three more slides to understand why we changed all these things. We call this the twin games. You see, they can play on this side. On the left side, you can play under 7. They play with 2 teams. On the other side, you can play under 8. So you can have 4 teams at the same moment on the pitch. And like you will see, the pitch will grow with the age group like the shirt of the player. Because the next one, 8v8, under 10, under 11, they play on the right side between these lines. So you see, under 12, under 13, the size of the pitch is growing with the players. It's like their shirt. They need some more complexity, some more space. Because if you make them play the under 10, under 11 on that big space, it just becomes a kick and rush game.
Yeah.
And not anymore the technical game that we want them to play. We change our regulations. Yeah. Because maybe you think, Kris, this is a wrong picture. No, it's the right one, because they like to be on the bench. But what about these guys? They hate the bench. So we try to have an impact on our coaches by saying, please make them play. But
include them, make them part of the game.
Yes, make them part of the game. And what did we see? Always the same players on the bench. They played like the last 15 or 20 minutes when the game was finished, when the game was decided. I said, that's not what we want. So if it doesn't work by just asking the coaches to do it, we have to be the most smart ones, the smartest ones. I say, the federation, then we have to decide. So we change regulation and we play now in 4 quarters. So like in basketball, which means after every quarter, all the substitute players that are on the bench, they have to come on the pitch after the first and the third quarter, which means every player plays automatically 50% of the game. And that's why they come to training. And that's why they want to be a football player, because they want to play the game. Yeah. So in the beginning, it was a huge criticism, but now it's really normal. And this is the main reason we want to create the best learning and playing environment for kids. And we want to use the game as a tool for development and not as a goal. And it's not about winning or losing. It's about learning and becoming better and enjoying playing the game together with my friends and becoming better and better. And a lot of people ask, yeah, but they don't play to win anymore. Yes, they do. The kids, as soon as they start playing, they start to play to win the game, for sure.
Absolutely. It's a consequence. And I love that, because actually one of the questions I had is, how are you measuring the success of this model? So that's a question I would say. Now you see a lot of results regarding the football players, international stars that are coming out of it. But general, how would you measure those key success of this model?
Yeah, first thing, and that's why till the age of under 14, without that tables, you have, because what is success?
Yeah.
So we really have to think
How do you
about
measure?
that.
I mean, that's a good question.
Yeah.
What is
like
success for the Royal Belgian Federation?
At grassroots level, success means no dropout. That's the first success. At grassroots level, that's the most important one. Because what did we see in the past? At what age group do we have most of dropout? 15, 16 years old.
Teenagers, yeah.
Yeah, teenagers, because they are teenagers.
Yeah.
They don't want to listen anymore just to the coach who says, you do this because I tell you to do this. They want to become the boss. So there is puberty at that moment. So our profile of coaches, are they right to be guiding, to be coaching these age groups? Because you really need people who understand what puberty means and who can deal with them. And for example, in these age groups, I've been coaching them. I said, okay, give them 20 minutes the time. So for example, in our club on Thursday, the last 30 minutes is done by the training session is done by the players at these age groups of puberty. Why? To give them the freedom, to give them the responsibility and the autonomy, because that's what they want. That's what...
That's very interesting, Kris, because what you're saying, it's not only about the Belgium model, is not only about the player's pathway, but it's also about the coaching pathway.
Yeah, absolutely.
And having coaches specialized for specific age groups.
Yeah.
Which we see in other countries or in other models that the coach follow that winning team, but in general, it's really specifying on the development of the player and what you would say the qualities of the coaches in specific age groups. And that's also part of the key success of your model.
That's key. And I didn't mention it till now, but 20 years ago when we started that new vision of development, and that has been fantastic decision. So the National Lottery decided to fund all the new coaches who started education in the new vision of development. So for 2 years, for 2 years, we have spread all over the country one specific course to understand what this vision of development means, and specialist coaches for the youngsters. So starting from that, for every profile, for every age group, we started what's the profile of coach that we need, how are we going to educate this coach, and we made a course for every profile of the age groups. Because you need the right coaches to develop the players.
Absolutely. Fantastic.
Yeah. So,
and now, I have a very specific question regarding the model. So you've built a model. You said at the beginning you had over 100 people working closely by. How were you able to align everyone, professional league, national team, clubs, academies, into buy-in the Belgian model? Because that should be also another key success factor in the development of this model, is everyone buying in the philosophy of the model, right?
Yeah, and that was indeed the most difficult thing. That was the most difficult thing. How you keep everybody together? How can you, like you said, onboard them? And you need time to do it. That's one thing. Yeah, and you have to involve them from the very beginning. So it was not our project of the FA. It was project of Belgian football. Yeah, and it was about methodology. How can we make that the kids learn in the best possible way? How can we make that they have fun when they play football? Absolutely. And we didn't want to touch anything about the DNA of a club. Anderlecht, Bruges, Standard Liège, Racing Genk, they have their own DNA, they have their own identity. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. What we were doing was, how do we want to play? How does the player of the future look like? How can we develop the players to be ready for the game of the future? And the game of the future, it's a win-win for everybody. It's a win-win for the federation. It's a win-win for the club. And it's the biggest win-win for the player. Yeah. And that's why I said, I think today, I talked about that last week with our colleagues here. I think today, starting that project would be a bigger challenge than it was 20 years ago. Because with the private owners in the club, it becomes more difficult, because they don't think about the Belgian game. They think about making money out, and we didn't have that 20 years ago. So in a club, if that's really the same thing what the club could do, like, let's build our identity, let's work on our methodology, and let's collaborate and work all together in the same direction all the time. And that is difficult in football, because football it's a lot about ego and not about collaboration. And that's also something we had to work in coach education, how to learn our coaches, how to teach our coaches to collaborate, and how to build. Yeah, because they say, it's my team. No, it's not your team. It's not your players. We don't have teams. We don't have players. It's about the players themselves. Yeah. How can you help them to become a better version of themselves? Of themselves.
Yeah. Oh, I think you're going to reply to me this question with what you're about to present. Yeah.
No, go on.
But from such a small country with such a cultural diversity, you really have built a big number of international stars. How have you done it? Is it because of the player individuality? The diversity has also helped to grow into that. I mean, what's been the recipe on that sense?
No. The recipe is consistency, doing the right things and just keeping doing it. That's consistency. Focus on the player. Give the player the freedom. Let them play. So the big advantage that we have is small country, small distances. So from very young age, the best train with the best and they play against the best. So that's a big advantage. That also, I take the example of consistency. Also in the academies of the clubs, the biggest academies. For example, I take Anderlecht, Romelu Lukaku company, cultural differences.
Yeah.
They played street soccer in the city. In the academy director, Jean Kindermans, he's there for 25 years. Clear vision, clear concepts, player focus, 100%, and things are going in a perfect way. And I can give the other examples. Racing Genk, the same. Bruges, the same. A lot of consistency also in our national teams. Bob Brouwijs, for example, he's for 20 years in the FA. So that consistency is really important. And yeah, every player is different. Yeah. And
every player is different. Yes.
And I think one of the big challenges for academy systems is they put players out too early. They lose the late mature players. They are focusing too early on results, which gives you which players do you take? Yeah, the big ones. I just give you an example. That's about maturity, biological maturity, and relative age effect. This is the reality in the whole world.
Yeah.
And maybe you will say, well, yeah, but if I have to pick a team, yeah, but what are you looking for at 15 years old? If you have to play with the players on the left side, they are not the early mature, but the late mature.
Yeah, the late blossoms.
If you watch the player on the right side, okay, if you want to make a team that is strong and that performs at 15 years old, you are going to take these ones. But for the long term, maybe you make a big mistake because there can be big differences. Yeah. There can be like a difference of 3-4 years when it's very extreme, because when you combine maturity with early born or late born, you can have a big difference. And this gives you situation like this one. Yeah, this is Romelu Lukaku on the left side against Dries Mertens at 15, 16 years old. Romelu played in the senior team of Anderlecht at 16 years old. He was a giant. But if we focus then on performance, yeah, you put the other ones out. And that's what you get. What we cannot make that mistake. And that's why we create, and this is my favorite picture. Yeah, a really big challenge in the academy system. Some coaches, they only like and they only want the ripe bananas. Yeah. And when I go to the shop and I come back and I've bought the green ones, and my wife said, Kris, what did you do? Watch, we cannot eat these bananas. I say,
wait,
no, tranquilo.
Gonna come very peaceful woman. I know.
Yeah, that's it. Be patient. We need some time. They will become. That's what we have with players. And this is not just
because it's also a matter of the athletes or the players' attitude. If you're not chosen at one, then the deception comes, the dropout comes, and you might be losing someone who's very talented. And we don't know it.
Absolutely. And for big nations like France, it's not a problem because they have 2-3 teams waiting.
Yeah.
Because in Paris, for example, there are more players than in Belgium. So for them, no problem. But for us, it's a big problem. And this is not just a story. This is a reality. This was the best football that Belgium played was in Russia in the World Cup. And when you watch this is clear. 5 of the starting players, 5 of the starting 11, they were green bananas.
Wow.
They didn't play for Belgian national team till the age of 19. Never. Yeah. So even today, like you can see here on the slide, today we must add 2 more because Timothy Costagne and Alexis Salamakers both are coming from the same project, because we started 15 years ago in Belgium. We started a project that we called the Future National Teams. So under 15, under 16, under 17, we have 2 national teams. The teams that play the competitions for UEFA, and the other team with only late mature players that we are preparing for the future.
For the future.
Because there we know these guys, they need time to become from green to a yellow banana. And for example, Kevin De Bruyne only started playing in the under 19 team. Carrasco, he was playing in all the future teams. He started playing in the under 21 team. It's so important for us to keep these players and to prepare them. Castagne was my captain in the future team. Yeah. So we discovered him at the age of 14. He played in a regional small club where he had 2 training sessions a week. And 5 years later, he was an international player. So unbelievable how individuals can evolve if they are in the right environment, and if you give them the time to develop. So
let me ask you a question regarding this.
Yeah.
Because you're coming out of one of the best generation in your history with players, as you've mentioned, no? Courtois, Hazard, De Bruyne. And they've all been very successful in club football. But now giving a little bit to our audience, whom is the Liga MX in Mexico, what advice would you give to Mexico to stand out in future tournaments?
I think because Mexico, I saw them playing in Russia. Yeah, I saw them also now in Qatar, but I didn't know that the number of inhabitants was so big. So your pool is much bigger than our pool. I think an important the senior level, if you want to influence or to impact the quality on the senior level, you have to focus on the underage groups. And I think trying to build like a playing philosophy and a coaching philosophy, I think more the coaching philosophy, I think, because I know South America, it's about performance, winning culture, and it's fantastic. But I think that coaches should also have the focus on individual development, because if you can work at the age of 12, 13, 14 and really making the individual better and increasing the quality of the academies by less focusing on performance, but by more focusing on individual development. And like, yeah, just forget about the team results at youth level, because I know the tournaments, it's all about winning, but you will lose the green bananas. And I was in Argentina and we asked like the question, would Messi would it be possible that Messi was Messi if he didn't leave the Argentina environment? If he hasn't been in Barcelona environment, would his evolution have been the same as what it's now? I think that's when I look back and I say the environment where they are in has the huge impact on their development.
Absolutely.
And as a small kid, as a really small kid, yeah, you need patience around him. But and giving him the right environment to flourish.
I think I'm going to outstand what you're saying for Mexico. It's really about building a one vision project
Yeah, absolutely.
with philosophy and coaching, no, all together. I think it has to be related to our reality, our own reality. And like you said, we are a humongous country. Only one state is the size of Spain.
Yeah.
So territorially, it's a big challenge. But I do think we have the material, the substance to build from there. And the one thing I'm gonna really outstand for everyone who's listening to us, which I love and I'm gonna embrace it in everyday life at the sports development department, is it's not about the result, it's about the process and the learning
Yeah.
process at the foundations. And I think that's amazing. Now, I would like to change a little bit the conversation and just ask you, I mean, after Qatar, what's next for the Belgium national team? How are you managing this generational change you're about to embark on? What's going on? Because this should be like an all machine, right? You've had an amazing generation, but it should be an all machine, which I'm sure this is what the model is about. And I love what you said, 15% is the one that keeps changing. So what is the Belgian vision towards the future?
Yeah. So first of all, everybody knows, we changed our manager. So Roberto has been working here, Roberto Martinez, for 6 years, which is, he did a great job. So what we are focusing on now is the change of that generation. Yeah, but we were already preparing, and I just show you a little bit. That's it. What's next? Yeah, this is the new team. They only played one game, no, 2 games, one official one against Sweden and another one against Germany, and that's next for us. Prepare that new generation of world-class players, because there is a lot of talent coming on. We were not just comfortable and sitting in our sofa and saying, "Oh, watch how good we are." No, we have been working very hard during this last years, because I can also share with you one of the negative points of that vision that we created 20 years ago.
Please.
So, yes,
please enlighten us to see that there's learnings on the pathway.
Yeah, there is learning, because so we had been focusing so much on creativity, and we wanted to create offensive players. Yeah, and by focusing on these number 10s and offensive players, we have a lot of them, but we forgot to develop wing defenders. And today, the last 10 years in our national team, we have fantastic players, but we don't have wing defenders. That's why Roberto Martinez decided to play 3 at the back, because in a lot of games we played with Thomas Vermaelen, Vertongen, Alderweireld, and Meunier. We played, and I forget Company. We played with 4 central defenders as a line of 4, because we had plenty of central defenders, and that's because of 20 years ago. So we realized after 15 years, and then we started the importance of the wing defender. But now we need, I think, some more 2-3 years to have also these players at the world class level. So it's and when I watched the squad, I've put it in the slide here. We had a balanced 2022 squad in Qatar with 9 players playing the first World Cup, but they didn't play so much. They were the substitute players. So they will play the first one in, I hope, in Mexico. That's what we are preparing now, the generation 26, to try to have a good balance. The older players, those who played their 3rd World Cup, they are disappearing. But we hope to have till 26 Romelu Lukaku, Kevin De Bruyne. They will be on their top level, even if they maybe are on the top level already now. Kevin, when the way he's playing at the moment, it's amazing. So this is really our focus about this is the past. The past is gone, and I'm used to say it's an advice. Please don't watch too much the past, because when you watch the past, you are with your back to the future, and that's not what we need. Please look forward. Look for the future, because that's what we have to do. The past, you can't change the past anymore. You can say, oh, it was nice, but it's gone. You have to make that you are ready for the future, and to make that the future will be bright. And that's what we are doing now with a new coach, a young coach who did a huge performance in the two first games. They even could beat Germany, and really in an impressive way. So it's now building that new generation. But the big advantage is that the players who are coming in, they know the principles that we play. They are technical, tactical, physical. They are ready. And one of the new things I want to share with you as a brain challenger, we are now working a lot on the brain of the players. So we are in a project with universities about how can we influence the brain, because we are really convinced that football is like playing chess. It's a brain game, but where you have to run a lot. It's a lot of explosivity, but it's a brain game, because it's all about decision making.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kris. As a conclusion, is there any key elements you would like to share with Mexico as a final thought? I mean, this thing about embracing, looking into the future, I think it's a fantastic closure. Yeah. But is there anything regarding, I remember I met Michel Sablon, actually. He played in Mexico. He's very fond of our country. And he said the same, is move forward. You need to move forward. And this is what we want to learn from you guys, from the Belgium, to build towards the future. But any final thoughts, any conclusions regarding this?
I can only give you one advice, and it's a very important one. Don't be afraid of going slowly. You will see, it's about development. You want to change things, and I know everybody said we need key performance indicators. Yeah, we need them. We must see fast results, but development and fast, it doesn't match. So don't be afraid of going slowly, but be afraid of standing still. That's my advice for you, because if you don't change anything, if you just keep doing what you did, you are standing still. And standing still means going backwards. That's not what we want. Go forward, think positively, think about the future, and go forward step by step. But know that the steps will be small steps. But don't be afraid of going slowly forward.
Wow, fantastic. Kris, this has been, what a ride you've taken us of 20 years of success and learnings through the history of Belgian football. It's been an amazing pleasure. Thank you for the masterclass.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you for allowing us to pick on your brain. And you are always more than welcome to come and visit to Mexico. We're looking forward to having you here and continue this conversation, hopefully with some tacos, watching Mexican football together.
I can tell you something that maybe you don't know, but our head of scouting at the AV now, he worked for several years in Mexico. In the clubs, they know him very well. It's Rembert Vrooman.
Of course. Please send the regards to, we know him really well here in Mexico.
Yeah, of course.
Married to a Mexican lady.
Yes. And living and now, 15 minutes from my house, yes.
It was a big hug. You see, Belgium and Mexico are connected somehow. Thank you, Kris, so much. So we'll get back to the studio with Antonio Rosique and Valeria Marin. Have a wonderful Summit Liga MX 2023.
Muchísimas gracias a Lucía y por supuesto también a Kris. Qué simpático hombre,
Justo
pero
es,
además, ¿qué elementos nos regala? Pequeños cambios que se pueden generar por una cosita en cuanto a la formación de jugadores. La verdad es que enriqueció muchísimo y es bien interesante, Toño, esta parte de la formación del jugador y cómo eso te puede llevar a otras plataformas como las selecciones nacionales.
Totalmente de acuerdo. Es una exposición brillante la que hemos tenido, además con una elocuencia, con una claridad, con una puntualidad. Y lo mencionas muy bien, Val. A veces basta con cambiar el concepto, ni siquiera toda la estructura, el enfoque, el concepto, y me encantó cómo lo remató, diciendo que tengamos miedo a quedarnos en el mismo lugar y tratemos de ir, aunque sea avanzando lento, pero generando ese cambio y ese desarrollo que ellos en la selección de Bélgica lo han conseguido en los últimos 15 años. Los seguimos invitando a ser parte de este gran evento, a comunicarse con nosotros. Usen el hashtag Summit Liga MX y si quieren conocer todos los pormenores de este evento que reúne a lo mejor de la industria deportiva, no dejen de suscribirse a la página summit.ligamx.net. Vamos a un corte, regresamos para la última ponencia de este primer día de actividades.